Hey there, it's Jen with Genuine Living, and I wanted to do one of my 30 years of journaling videos. And this is where I pull out a random journal. I have 30 years worth of stuff and tell you a little bit about what was going on and bring you a source of inspiration, maybe a resource that helped me through it, and what I've learned and what I might do differently. And this one was from 2006. So here are a couple just generic journals that I buy from Walmart or wherever. They have them at school time for like 15 cents or something. And I was going through one, and it's really interesting. That was a very tough period of my life. My kids were smaller in school. Now they're out of school, obviously graduated college and all of that stuff. But at this particular time, I was like really struggling in my marriage. And, you know, for those of you who have young families, let's just say it's a transition time. Just like I'm in a transition time with my kids being grown and out of the house, you are in a phase of life where you've never raised kids before, and there's no manual for that, and you're not going to be perfect at it. So I want to just say, your heart's in it, you're doing it, and you'll be fine, and they'll be fine. Give yourself those breather moments, and know that they're going to be okay. Just keep loving on them and loving on you and loving on all parties involved in raising your children, and it's going to be okay. So first, I just wanted to say that. And also during this time period, again, I was in my 30s. Now I'm into my 50s. So I wanted to say, during that time period, the job situations, can I just say, like, everybody thinks that they have to have their career on point, and a lot of influencers and people online will say, oh, you know, it looks like they've got their life together. They've got all the product lines and coaching clients and all the things, right? I learned and was in that time period before all of that was available, before we were online. In fact, I sent my very first email at one of my jobs, at a college, no less. And what I wanted to say is, if you are not in the position that you think you should be in and that you're comparing all of your friends to, here's what you do. And actually, Mark Cuban has a video on this somewhere on the internet. I think I have it saved in one of my playlists, actually. Learn on the job. Even if it's a job that you hate, or it feels like this menial job that you may feel is beneath you in some kind of way, that's never the case. Use the time that you're spending in that job to learn everything you can about things like the business, where the money goes, who is it coming from, what are their clients, how are they reaching out to their clients, what marketing strategies are they using, which ones are working. You can, whatever area interests you, maybe you're interested in things like accounting and taxes and that sort of thing. You can learn so much. I worked at a real estate office for a period of time while my kids were very young. I think they were in like kindergarten and third grade. And the job was a clerical job at first. And I was really interested in real estate. And a wise friend of mine who has since passed, I sat down with her one day and just asked her and said, hey, you know, I was thinking I wanted to be a real estate agent. And she said, my advice to you is to go be someone's assistant and see what that really is like, to see if you really like it. So that's what I did. I went out, I looked for jobs that were in a real estate office, and I was entering listings and coordinating closings and doing all of those things and learning the ins and outs of the transactions involved. And met a lot of agents and saw what they did, what their job was really like. What it was really like was a lot of weekends, a lot of nights, a lot of behind the scenes, like not just with client interactions, but also with like banks, mortgage companies, attorneys sometimes, title companies, inspectors, appraisers, all of the other pieces of those equations. And it can be very stressful. And as the listing and sales coordinator, my job was to make sure that everything was on schedule, because when you go to buy those properties, there's in your contract is like timelines, and somebody has to be watching those timelines, making sure they're met so that the sale can go through and the closing can go on as scheduled. So anyway, I learned a ton. But what I learned the most was from the broker, because I ended up doing a lot of her property management stuff in that process, because I went in with an attitude of learning. Sorry, I was boring you with a lot of detail, but I went in with an attitude of learning. My position didn't pay well, wasn't exactly fun, but I was getting paid to learn, you know, and I don't care if it was a little bit or a lot, I was getting paid to learn. And I learned so much. That knowledge then applied to other positions that I held later down the line. I was able to draw from that pool of wisdom. So if you're working at Subway and you're making sandwiches, watch what people are ordering, you know, get to learn the ins and outs of ways to communicate with people. That will serve you well in whatever position is around the corner for you, because no season is forever. Okay? You're not going to be stuck in the same place you are now forever and ever and ever. So I want to give you that. In all of my 30 years of journaling, see, I'm not faking that. That's definitely in there. I have even a thing about that job in here where it's like the people that I was working for. It's so interesting, like having bad attitudes and things like that in here, and asking for help with that. Just keep pressing on. You know the work you need. And if you've watched my other videos about improving your life in little tiny increments, do that. You will not even imagine what your life will be like 10 years from now. It's not going to be like it is today. I promise you that. I promise you. I have been broker than a joker. I have lived in the worst situations. And so I count myself so blessed. I remember it was a dream of mine to build a house, which we finally did. And when I wrote that dream, my life was a complete mess. There is no way in this world that I could have ever built a house, nor should I have when I did it, because that was a mess. But we may get to a journal entry about that later. But I just really want to encourage you that if you're in a season that feels like you're on the struggle bus, that won't be forever. Use it as a learning opportunity. You can learn about yourself. You can learn how to improve the situation. You can grab a skill to help you through it. And that skill will then down the line serve you in some kind of way. Just like my jobs that felt like dread every day going in. You didn't want to be doing that because of whatever reason. Just take it as an opportunity to learn and to grow and to improve. Go back to my other videos and look for tips on habits and things that you want to learn. Maybe there's one aspect of that job that's interesting to you. Maybe it's someone else's position. There's a book that I listened to. I don't know if it's Brian Tracy's book, No Excuses. Might be that one. And it might be Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. I don't remember which one of those books this is in, but it goes right along with this. Someone was complaining to one of them about they don't pay enough at this company. Well, it just means that you don't get paid what the highest paid person at that company gets paid. So figure out what they do and then aim at that. Pick up the skills that they have. And I will say this, you have no idea what your bosses are doing. So like, I've been that girl that's been like, I work so much harder than her, and or whoever boss I had, I worked, and then once I got put in that position and had no clue what I was doing, it was a wake-up call, and it was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to learn. So ask them, take them out to lunch. Instead of looking at them like an enemy, take them out, have a coffee, go on a walk during the lunch hour, and just ask them about their job. What do they like about it? What do they hate about it? Learn about people's positions before you go judging what they do or do not do. Also, if you work for a smaller company, as I do, a lot of times, especially small companies, when I say, like, let's say you have 20 employees or less, a lot of times the boss is carrying a lot of responsibility and weight. Your paycheck doesn't come from a magic bank in the sky. It comes from them doing their part of the job. So while they may not be doing whatever your role is, they're doing something else. Learn about that, because they're getting paid probably substantially more than you are because of what they know, not necessarily all that they do. And so I know that's frustrating and can feel frustrating. And there's that distance that you might feel between those two things, but you're not far off. And I always say this to myself, in no matter what the goal is that I have, whenever I see somebody who, let's say it might spark, I don't want to say jealousy, but like a little of, I want what they have, or some kind of like, I would love that for me. And sometimes it might feel like, must be nice. You know, if you have that feeling, switch it into this. I challenge you to do this. I am so close to that, or it couldn't be on my path. The only reason that is on my path is because I'm close to it. Think about it. If you know some people that are on a path that you don't want to be on, for sure. We all do. We all know somebody that's on a path that we're like, I don't want to be on that path. So if all the people around you are on a path that you don't want to be on, get on a new path. But if you have that tendency to look over here and look at this person, again, comparison's a thief of joy. That's straight from the Bible. Great words of wisdom in there if you're so inclined. I'm not saying you need to be a Christian, but that doesn't exclude you from gaining some wisdom from whatever source we can get it from. On that note, like, if a mechanic is whatever he is, I don't care as long as he can fix my car. So sometimes we just get wisdom from where we can get it and let go of all of our feelings about that. The other thing that I was trying to go on is the path. So when you get that feeling, not a comparison thing, drop the comparison and know that if it's a car, I really would like to have a nice car. Maybe you're driving around in a piece of junk. Like I have driven around in many pieces of junk in my life. Trust me on that. Cracked windshields and the whole thing. Sometimes I had to hold up the window because it was so cold out. I mean, it's been real. I've lived some real life. 30 years of journals prove it. And I just say that now when you see a nice car, say, I'm on that path. I'm on the path where the nice cars are traveling, or I'm on the path where the people that have it together or the super fit people are. That's the path I'm on because it's meant for me. If you're on a different path, it's not meant for you. So I just want to encourage you with that. Every time I bring a journal entry into the room with you, it is all about encouragement, because I know that we all could use it, and I love content that brings joy, that brings encouragement, that is positive, and that cheers you on and lets you know that whatever season you're in, it's not forever. I hope that encourages you today. Keep going. You got this.